me Z and T, cause I'm the best in the game. I got the fame, the style that isn't lame.
Hey, is there a cassette tape anywhere?
I sure do. This cassette is the best, I can attest. Best cassette in the east to the west. Yeah, I ain't a rapper. This cassette's dapper. I'm no capper.
Okay, do you mind if I take that off your hands?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, thank you.
No problem, bro.
And this is this week's Closet Classics.
Hey folks, I'm Paul Gustafson and this is Healthy Hypnosis. This is a show that helps you to become a little bit more educated, develop a better understanding about the serious-minded, helpful, clinical side of the field of hypnotherapy. Just a quick review, I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, certified to help people with medical conditions, also certified in regression therapy, helping people to go back to early points in their lives to resolve problems. Certified also metaphysical hypnosis, which is the spiritual side of things, and a certified specialist to help people with irritable bowel syndrome. I'm also a registered nurse, spent a number of years working at Mass General Hospital, did 8 years as a hospice nurse, and have been a full-time clinical hypnotherapist now for 5 years and loving it. Well, I'm really excited about today's show. Today I want to quickly review how the mind works. Basically how hypnosis works. I'm going to talk about some of the applications of hypnosis, and I'm going to kind of go through the process of what a client experiences from the first time they pick up the phone to call and how the process works when they come in the office. Then we're going to get to our hypnosis highlight of the day, which is aviophobia, or fear of flying. And we have a guest, so our guest will be out in a few moments, but I first want to give you a quick review of how the mind works, and we'll do this on occasion from show to show just to give you a primer. Sometimes people have a difficult time understanding the concept of hypnosis, so I think this is a good idea to kind of review it quickly. If we think for a moment, we all have a long-term memory and a short-term memory. The short-term memory is the conscious mind. A long-term memory is the subconscious mind. Let's talk about the conscious mind just for a moment. The conscious mind is a part of our brain that analyzes, judges, critiques, accepts, or denies information to be put back into the long-term memory, the subconscious mind. Think of the conscious mind as a gatekeeper. It's a part of our brain that's really active most of the time. In fact, the only time our conscious mind takes a break is when we're sleeping and when we're hypnotized. So now let's shift to the subconscious mind, the long-term memory. The subconscious mind is the home of all of our habits, our patterns, our values and beliefs. Subconscious mind is our body's control center. Subconscious mind is responsible for how fast your heart beats, how quickly you breathe. It regulates the thousands of metabolic functions that go on in your body every day without you having to extend a single conscious thought about it. So, as you might imagine, the subconscious is a pretty powerful place. And how does that come into play with hypnosis? Well, hypnosis is the process of accessing this level of thought. Because it's the home of our habits, patterns, values, and beliefs, it really pays off to be able to access this area to help people to make changes, to unplug unwanted patterns, fears, worries, and concerns, kind of download new applications that support their goals. So let's talk about some of the applications of hypnosis, or kind of a list of the type of problems that most clients come to see me for. I see clients for behavior modification mostly, smoking, weight loss, helping people to develop healthier relationships with food, exercise motivation. I see people, as I said earlier, for irritable bowel syndrome. Hypnotherapy is an immensely powerful tool to relieve symptoms of IBS. This is something that's been researched for 30 years, and I would be more than happy if the only clients I saw were IBS clients, because they're extremely motivated and a little bit desperate because they've been putting up with their problems for such a long period of time. I see people with fears and phobias. I see people with medical conditions in addition to IBS, pain, depression. And just a quick word on the clients who come to me with a medical diagnosis. It's my responsibility to make sure the primary MD signs off on the idea of using hypnosis as a therapy for the problem. So I'll just fax a consent form to them. We're in the business of working with mainstream medical care, not competing with it. We're an adjunct or a complement to traditional medicine. So those are basically a quick rundown of the types of problems that people come to me with. Let's talk briefly about the process of hypnosis and what a client goes through. Now, they first pick up the phone and give me a call, and during our initial conversation, I'm trying to get an idea if hypnosis is right for them. My focus initially is on whether or not they have any experience with hypnosis, whether or not they know anybody who's had any experience with hypnosis, and if I get a sense that they are appropriate and it seems like it would be a good fit. And by the way, most of the clients that call me are a good fit, which is something I was kind of surprised at when I get into this field. It seems that people who choose to pursue hypnosis are serious-minded, they've done their research, and they come in, for the most part, ready. So I'll get their email address during this initial phone conversation, and I'll send them an email. And that email contains a link to my website, which you can go to. It's paulgus.com. And on the website, they can listen to an audio introduction to hypnosis. They can see a video clients came in to be filmed sharing their experiences with hypnosis. And they get the intake form, which they fill out and fax to me before their first appointment. So we exchange this information. They learn a little bit about what I do. I learn a little bit about what they need to hear in a session. So they come in for their first visit relaxed and ready. It's the way we like it. So visit number one, further assess the situation. And then we start talking about the plan of care. And before we even get to the formal first hypnosis session, we'll practice self-hypnosis. I teach all my clients how to own the process, right? In 5 minutes, I'll review this simple technique where they can relax themselves, focus, and disconnect from the outer world. I do this for two reasons. One is, I hope they use it. I hope they use it to not only take a wonderful break during the middle of the day without any help from anybody, at the very least, they'll know that they can, which will make all of our office work more meaningful. It'll make the CD work that they do at home more meaningful. All the clients go home with a CD of each session. And they help to own the process, which elevates their level of success. And if they feel like they own it, they'll continue to do their homework, which is listening to the sessions at home, supporting their long-term success. So that's a quick overview of how the mind works, what hypnosis is, a few applications, and the process that clients go through coming into the office. Now I want to get to the fun part. Now we're going to get to our hypnosis highlight of the day. And that is aviophobia, which is fear of flying. And we have to be on our best behavior today because we have company. We have a guest, a former client of mine. Howard has graciously agreed to come on to the show. Come on in, Howard. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to have you here,
Happy
Howard.
to be here.
Howard came to me, well, you tell the story.
I came to you in May of 2006 because I had a flight planned to go visit family in Taiwan, and I was really dreading it. I was thinking more about the trip of how to get there than actually the whole time that I would be there,
Really?
which is kind of ridiculous.
What was your, when did you start experiencing problems with flying?
I would say a couple of years ago. You know, as a child I was able to fly, and then it would seem like, you know, as I got to be an early adult, I started having problems with it.
And
I dreaded it.
It's been my experience, we talked about this in the office, how phobias can have a very funny way of popping up out of nowhere. You get a funny little idea or notion about something, and sometimes it can grow. What were your symptoms?
It was basically dread. You know, I
Yeah.
could get on a plane, I could do it. I did fly to Europe in the early 90s, but it was white knuckle flying.
right?
It wasn't pleasurable. When really it should have been a nothing.
Yeah.
Should have been.
And earlier in your life it was.
Yeah,
I think you equated it to mowing the lawn or something.
Correct.
You just a casual kind of go out, and it was a means of getting from point A to point B for you. It was
Correct.
just like a car ride. And then trouble started, right? So what was your initial thought about hypnosis, and what made you decide to choose this?
hypnosis seemed like it made sense to me logically because the whole fear part I knew was irrational. I knew it was something that was kind of, it came up from somewhere in my mind, and I knew that it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, knew statistically everything, you know, with flying it's the safest mode of transportation. And I just said, this is silly. I can beat this, and hypnosis helps you do that.
Yeah. And all the clients that come to me with fears and phobias, they're well aware of the rational logic, you know, that they do the math. Of course you're safer in a plane, but it doesn't matter, does it?
No,
No.
not when you're there.
Yeah. When you have that irrational belief stored on a subconscious level, it can be a very powerful force, and seems to always be more powerful than any logic or rational thought. So you wrestled with the problem for a while. Yeah. How was it that you came to find me to begin with? I don't recall. Was that the
I
internet?
actually found you on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw that you were local to where I live. You were in the internet, so I figured I'd give you a call.
Right. So you came in. We kind of went through what I just described. The clients go through.
Exactly.
We talked. You come in, and what was your initial experience?
The initial experience was just relax, listen to the suggestions, and give it a shot.
How was the process of, now this is the first time you'd ever used hypnosis,
Mhm.
right? What was the process like as you kind of get into your first session and went from day to day? Did you find that you got better at it, or there was a...
I think the way hypnosis works is that you have to be diligent with your homework. You got the CD, you go through the session, and then you just keep doing it, and it's repetition.
Yeah.
And you're feeding your mind a new suggestion of what that reality is.
So we talked now, just to talk about some of the things that were included in some of the session work that we did, was in hypnosis. Now, just to sit here and talk about this, it doesn't have the same impact that it had and does have in hypnosis and hypnotic trance. We talked about distinguishing between what could be probable and what could be possible.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and you can comment on this, in life, anything at all is possible. I think the way it was worded in the session that
Sounds familiar.
it's possible that you could win the lottery and never have to work another day in your life, but you
Misjudge traffic.
probably won't.
Right.
Yeah, right. It's possible you could misjudge an oncoming car, but you probably won't. And was that logic helpful in terms of?
It was helpful because it kind of replaced the root of where that fear came from. Because the fear in and of itself is irrational. Once you make that connection that it's irrational and use hypnosis as a means of chipping away at the root of the fear and replacing it with that idea, you know, what's possible or what's probable.
Right. One of the other things we talked about was during hypnosis was to review what the safe sounds an airplane makes. You know, being comfortable with the landing gear coming up and down, being comfortable with turbulence, and talking during hypnosis what turbulence is. You know, the meeting of warm air and cold air, and equating that to a bumpy car ride. You know, were things like that helpful to you to establish a more rational connection?
I think it was. I think the first part was the most helpful, was the possible and probable, and the rest was just, you know, the little scientific aspects of aerodynamics. So on the way back from Taiwan, you know, a little turbulence didn't bother me at all.
So how long was the flight?
You're up there for 20 hours, 22 hours.
My goodness, yeah. Oh, now I remember you came to me twice,
Yes.
right? I remember the first time you came, there was two, I think, groups of sessions that you did.
Correct.
The first time, you had a trip coming up to California,
Correct.
right? And then it got delayed, I think. The trip got delayed.
Correct.
And you were very anxious to, it was in between visit 2, you did 3 visits, it was in between visit 2 and 3, and then your trip got delayed, so you were very curious to see if hypnosis worked. And for people who, are afraid of flying, you never really know until you get on a plane. So tell me what you did.
Yeah, because you've got the anticipatory fear and then the fear of when you're up there. So it is true.
So you found a small airport up in North?
Yeah, I went to an airport in Beverly and went up, and it was great.
What were you anticipating?
You don't know. I think that's what fear is. It's an unknown. I think when you put a face on it, it makes it a lot more manageable, and then it's just a normal activity.
So you went up in that little. When you mentioned, I think you mentioned that you might do that, and I remember silently thinking that might not be such a good idea because small airplanes, can be a little bit more bumpy, but apparently something took root.
Yeah, it was fine.
We peeled back enough layers of the irrational thought, and now the second time you came in preparation for the trip to Taiwan, we did another 3 sessions. And I think during this group of sessions, I certainly was more focused and proactive on teaching self-hypnosis and helping people to become empowered. Had you had an opportunity to do any of that self-hypnosis work as well?
Oh, yeah, a lot.
Really?
Even when I was on the plane. I mean, I didn't really need to listen to the CD on the plane, but I did. Just... And then on the way back from Taiwan, 20 hours, I didn't even feel the call to even use it. It was just...
And you didn't, or?
I did not.
You did not, yeah. If you were going to listen to it on the way back, it would have been as a moment of pleasure and a way to relax and enjoy the flight.
I mean, I had it just in case, but it was fine.
Yeah. So when you took off on the trip out to Taiwan, you were probably gearing up and ready for the worst, and you were pleasantly surprised? Or?
Yeah, no, I kind of knew that it would be okay.
Really?
Yeah, I had a confidence about it. You can tell.
Really?
You can tell.
So as you were gearing up a few days before the trip, you had a sense that you had it in the bag, kind of? And
pretty much.
Really? Well, you were pretty diligent. And I have a fair number of clients who do the double back. They'll come for a few sessions, and then for whatever reason, many months later, they'll come back. And you know a lot more. We certainly knew each other more. We knew each other better as having done the 3 sessions before. And there's a real comfort level. There's a very rapid learning curve with hypnosis. Would you agree in terms of when you start out and how quickly you're able to kind of get down to a nice deep place?
I think so, because it's a natural, organic type of thing. It's not too complicated, and you're really just dealing with yourself.
What does it feel like? Your best session that you had, what was that experience like?
It's nonverbal, so it's hard to describe. It's really like a sleep state.
Really?
I would say that.
You're
relaxed, you're just quietly listening, and then you don't even know.
You were hearing everything I said, or were you going in and out, or?
I was hearing the first part, and then it got muted.
It got muted.
But you could tell there was an effect, and then when I would go home and listen to the CD, I would recognize phrases, sentences, and...
Did you at times, as you listen to the same CD over and over again, a lot of clients explain this to me, that they'll hear something that they don't ever recall hearing before, even though they've been listening to the CD over and over again. As you go deeper into hypnotic trance, you kind of listen differently, and sometimes words or phrases might resonate differently or have more meaning to you.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Were you able to... did this experience affect you positively or negatively in any other aspect of your life?
I would say in general, it was very positive. Just being able to get to see these people in Taiwan I never saw. I mean, that's kind of like a secondary impact, but yeah, it was very positive.
This is your wife's family that lives in Taiwan?
In Taiwan, yeah.
Yeah. So now you see like a future of you making
this
trip.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Definitely. Maybe not next year, but the year after. Now, just because of work, it's hard to take a month off every year.
What about local, shorter flights?
No problem.
No problem. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's great. It is liberating to be able to take a fear head on and beat it. And it is you beating it. It's not like a drug. It's you did it yourself.
Is that the way you felt about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
And I think it's accurate, too.
Yeah. Because really, what am I doing that's so special? I'm just kind of talking. I mean,
No, it's important. You're a guide. I'm not taking that away.
yeah,
But
it's you're the
your
one that
own mind.
You're the one that integrates the information. You're the one that attaches the meaning to the words. I'm not saying I'm without involvement
Yeah.
here. I'm a good guide, but just a guide, right?
I would,
Yeah.
I'd say that's accurate.
I tell all my clients that the 3 keys to success with hypnosis, no matter what you come for, are you have to be open to the process of relaxing the way we do. You have to be truly motivated to do what you say you want to do, and you have to give yourself a little bit of time to get good at it. And I'll tell you that I said earlier when I was talking about my IBS people and how motivated and a little desperate they are because they've been wrestling with their symptoms for so long. People who come in with phobias are very motivated. And phobias can be a very unnerving thing. And I'll also tell you that for the people who are treated pharmacologically, let's say, or people who are using medication to subdue the symptoms, or for people, let's say, who are agoraphobic, don't like to go out of the house, the need to be phobic or have a fear can pop up in another area of your life. I had a client early on in the practice who was terrified of going outside, and she never left her house. She figured the problem was fixed. And then she needed to go for surgery for her knee. And all of a sudden, that innate need, that the problem that still really existed kind of hopped out to hospitals, and all of a sudden she was terrified and she couldn't walk as a result of her knee. So she finally came in and we peeled back the layers of her irrational fears, and she went in and had it fixed. So what would you say to somebody who was wondering if hypnosis was something that was worthwhile?
If you are diligent and you want to take on the problem head on, which is usually the best way to handle anything, it makes sense to try it.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's no downside.
Have you been practicing have you been doing any homework since you came back from your trip?
I listen maybe to a CD once a week.
Do you? Have you been practicing self-hypnosis?
That I have not done. I
Mm-hmm.
pretty much just listen to the CD because it's a set program. And
Yeah. What were I asked you a few minutes ago what the experience is like, the deep hypnotic experience. What about physical sensations? Now you said that you kind of went in and out and you heard me sometimes and you didn't. Were there any physical changes or sensations that you experienced? A lot of clients experience a variety of.
sometimes you feel like you're floating a little bit.
Really? Any sensations of temperature changes, warmth or tingly?
A little tingly in your
Really?
hands or feet.
Did you get a sense that you were in control?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know a lot of clients have that concern. And when actual, I mean, you've kind of already said this, but
Yeah, you are in control. There's no question.
hypnosis is
I
the
would say
process
that.
of accessing more control, not relinquishing control.
I would
So,
agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So
You're
you're
controlling your own head.
Yeah.
Definitely.
and you didn't feel like you were in control before. I mean,
Well, that's what the nature of fear is.
yeah, yeah. So you have any plans in the future for any flights other than Taiwan?
What I do for work, I'm usually at home, but if something came up, wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. Well, this is really a great experience. Let me just we just have a few minutes left. I'm just wondering as you kind of look back over this. Oh, there we go. We came unplugged.
Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Okay.
As you were wrestling with what was your biggest fear? What was your biggest concern? Was it just being uncomfortable in the plane, or did you have an idea of?
No, I don't know. I can't put a face on it.
Really?
What aspect of flying? I don't really know. I wish I did. That would be maybe it was control. You always want to analyze yourself and say what was the one thing. Maybe it was control.
Just control. It wasn't.
Maybe I don't know. That's
Yeah.
a guess.
Yeah. It's interesting that there wouldn't be a specific, you're 30,000 feet in the air. You'd think that most people would have a fear of, going down, but it was just a control thing or just a general
That's a
discomfort.
guess.
Yeah.
That's a guess.
Yeah. I know in one of the sessions that we did, you had a chance to kind of, on a small television screen, envision
Right.
what your worst concern would be on this little screen.
That was hard to do, actually.
right?
Yeah, because I didn't really have a set thing, was the thing catching on fire or is it a crash or
Right.
I didn't have a set.
That's a good, so that technique probably didn't help you out that much. Or you could just envision the discomfort in whatever way you wanted to make it look.
That's actually what I did.
Yeah, yeah. The thing was in the session where the client would, on a small, in hypnosis, imagine now that before you is a small 4-inch television screen. And on that screen you can imagine your biggest concern about flying, and then on the screen you had the remote control. And you're able to change the picture from color to black and white, change the picture from clear to grainy, and then of course on that 4-inch screen you're able to reduce the problem altogether. Now talk about control. When you're able to create a vision, and a lot of times in hypnosis we'll actually suggest to the client, experience a little of the stress, the worry, the concern that went with it, and then of course you make it go away. So with that type of technique, that type of imagery, because the imagination is part of the subconscious mind, you can really affect positive change. Talk about great control. Howard, it was very nice having you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you stopping by. That's about the end of our show, in a few more minutes, and I just want to talk about some upcoming shows that we're going to do. I mentioned IBS earlier, and I do plan on doing a program. I have a referring physician who is going to come on to the show, and he refers a lot of his IBS patients to me. And we're going to have, his name is Irv Ingraham, and he's going to be on the show hopefully within the next couple of weeks. He's looking forward to coming on. I'm also going to have Julie Griffin, who is an instructor of mine, who is one of the leading national educators in the field of clinical hypnotherapy. She's going to be on, and I'm also going to have Tom Nicoli, who was the hypnotist who was on the Dateline program. Dateline did a show on weight loss. 6 Quincy residents wanted to go to their 25th high school reunion, and they all took different ways to lose weight, and one of them was hypnotherapy. And Tom Nicoli is in Woburn, and he's going to come on the show. So we got a lot of exciting guests coming up. We're going to be covering different aspects of the field of clinical hypnotherapy. I also encourage you to visit the site paulgus.com, and you can listen to that audio introduction I mentioned earlier. You can see that video, the streaming video of client sharing their experiences of hypnosis. You can also shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or give me a call. Like to share what I know and spread the word. So if you do have any questions, I do encourage you to stay in touch. So I want to thank you all, and till next time, see you then.